I've been in this battle for a very long time. In a hypothetical world. Okay, good morning. My name's Orion Michael Guy. Actually, I need to stop using my name. What's going to be my new name? The devil. Satan. Lucifer. I got to get rid of that name. I got to go through and delete all my accounts. They're all fucking fucked. They're all fucked. And I'm fucked. Beyond fuck. And I wasn't joking about that electromagnetic radiation that they can beam into your house and literally cook your brain. Through the 5G stuff. The 5G is really, really high energy. And with the 5G, they can focus it. You remember that was the big selling point about 5G? Oh, 5G can track your phone and that can focus on where the device is to help get the best connection. Well, yeah, 2 or 3 5G towers triangulate their signal to one spot. It's the same technology they use to fight cancer. They use emitters, multiple emitters, and then they focus the beam in one spot. And in that one spot, it gets very hot and does damage. And with 5G towers everywhere, they can target people and see into your home and make you sick. You know, this is the thing, right? Why did I get into what I got into? Why did I do what I do? Well, when you're a targeted individual and you keep unjustly being attacked and crucified your entire life, like the first 4 or 5 times that I was poisoned in 20, I want to say, the first 4 or 5 times, the first time I was poisoned, I know for sure, was right around 2015 or 2016, late 2015, mid 2015. And I had been poisoned many times before that, but I didn't realize you just get real sick and you don't know why all of a sudden you feel like you're going to die. You get over it and you just figure that's just part of life. But in 2015, I remember I went and got some food and it was cyanide. They used cyanide. And I just think I was telling you that I'm pretty much impervious to cyanide. It doesn't mean it doesn't hurt you really, really bad, which of course it does. So I ate cyanide. My liver was killing me. Oh, my liver! I had a hemorrhage. My liver was literally, it hemorrhaged, and it felt like, if you can imagine, you know, your skin is like this, and as it hemorrhages, it kind of starts to pull apart, but it doesn't actually break, but it tears a little bit. Yeah, my liver tore, and because there was so much toxicity in the system, and I guess my liver swelled up real bad, it tore. And my liver's huge right now. If I lost weight, there'd literally be a bulge where my liver is. It's so damaged. There's probably liver cancer in there, and then there's technically a name for it. I think it's called liver cirrhosis or something like that, where your liver is just constantly damaged, and it turns black basically, and stops functioning. And the nice thing about the liver, though, is that the cells, they're somewhat independent of each other. So if half your liver is bad and the other half is good, technically your liver will still work. My liver's probably 78-90% bad right now. It's part of the reason why I don't have a lot of energy, because the liver is responsible for metabolizing, I don't know exactly all the technical details, but the liver good functioning liver, gallbladder, and kidneys helps you break down the food and generate energy. If your liver's not working properly and your kidneys aren't working properly, you have energy problems. On top of the fact that there's constantly putting designer chemicals in the food that are literally designed to make you sleepy and tired and sluggish and brain dead and sick. So it's compound on top of compound on top of compound. Anyways, I got stuff to do, so. Based on my dreams last night. Oh yeah, oh yeah. So okay, so going back to, like, you know, me being poisoned and attacked my entire life from when I was a baby, and then I'm not going to get into the things that my mother did to help save my life, but even while in hiding, I experienced fatal poison attacks on many occasions, and I didn't realize what was going on. I would get migraine headaches and get really, really deathly ill for a day and a half, 2 days at a time. And that would be like once a month. I remember when I was in school, during a specific time of my life when I was going to a school, and I would get home from school deathly ill. And I had no one. I'm not joking. I was like between the age of 10 and 13, I had no one. I was literally I used to skateboard on Hollywood Boulevard. I was such a dork. Such a total dork, dude. Like, could you imagine a 12-year-old kid, redhead kid, spazzing around Hollywood completely unchecked? I used to go, this is what I was doing. When I was 12 years old, literally, I'm not joking. When I was 12 years old, I used to go work. There was this row of storefronts, and some of them were restaurants, and some of them were businesses. Like back in the day, there was like these call centers for like either an insurance company, because back 20, 30, 40 years ago, they didn't have technology like they do now. So I mean, you had what you would call a boiler room. That's what they called it, a boiler room. So basically, if you can imagine, like if you're driving down if you're familiar with Los Angeles, there's a lot of strip malls. Basically, it's like if you're driving down a main road in Los Angeles, in a lot of neighborhoods, there will be what is called a strip lot or a strip mall. So it'll be like a giant parking lot, and it'll be a whole bunch of individual businesses, and it'll be one basically long continuous business, but they'll be divided into different, one of them at the corner will be the liquor store, and then next to that is, like the MoneyGram or something like that, and then next to that is a donut shop, and then next to that is a massage parlor, and then next to that is a dance studio. That's generally the idea. Or there'll be like a diner or a restaurant. It's a strip parking lot, strip mall, I guess is what they call it. I used to go to these strip malls, and I would go to these different businesses and clean. When I was 12 years old, yeah, 13 years old, I basically had to scrounge around for food and money just so I could eat. And I was out of control, dude, completely freaking out of control. But I used to have to literally go clean garbage cans and toilets and bathrooms and stuff to make, scrap money so I could go to the liquor store, buy food, and play video games. Bubble Bobble. I don't know if you guys ever remember Bubble Bobble. Bubble Bobble. I remember when that came out. Miss Pac-Man was popular. The Galactic. There's this one shooter where basically the plane just goes, or the spaceship goes back and forth, and there's wave after wave of aliens. And then when you shoot certain aliens, you get a power up, and then your spaceship gets larger and larger. Galactica, I think it was called. I forgot. Contra. I remember Contra. These were video games. So like you would go into, so for those of you that don't know, a lot of liquor stores, they would have 2 or 3 video games either in the back or on the side. And because there was no PlayStation, there was no Xbox, there was no, I mean, I think Atari was a home console. But, for the most part, the only way you could play a video game was literally going to either an arcade, which they used to actually have arcades. Like you would go into, one of these strip malls, and then one of the businesses would literally be an arcade, and you go in there, and it's just wall to wall, all the way to the back, just full of video games. And that one thing where the claw goes down, and you try to pick up a bunny rabbit, and then it comes back to the drop location, and just before you're about to get it, it falls out, and then you pay more, and you never get the prize. There was those machines, you remember those? And then like the whack-a-mole stuff and all kinds of arcades, the ones where motorbikes and race cars and stuff like that. Midnight Run. Anyways, so yeah, I used to have to scrounge around for money, and then finally they wrangled me up and got me back into school. And then I remember when I would come back from school, I would be very, very, very sick. And I did not know what was happening. I just thought I was real sick, And, I was basically an orphan. So it was a tough time for a little while there. But my whole life I've been persecuted and attacked. My family's been shredded apart. my whole life I was attacked, and I didn't know what was going on. I mean, I was basically a individual just living my life, just trying to survive. I had no clue what was happening. And then, when I was 16, I just started working. I mean, I was doing plumbing and electrical when I was 16 years old, just like working. And then through my 20s and 30s, I was doing construction and stuff like that. And then I just having always had real bad problems. See, back then, there was no cell phones. There was no tracking information on people. So, I mean, if me right now was born right now, and whoever they are that have been targeting me my whole life, I wouldn't make it past day 2. Because they have tracking technology. They know exactly where everybody is all the time. But back then, it was a little bit more open. You could just drive 10 minutes away and nobody knew who anybody was. That's just the way it was. You had your privacy and your anonymity. Anonymity. You know what I'm trying to say. So it was a much happier time too. People had freedom. They weren't worried about like everything they said and did was like forever recorded on the internet. That's terrible, dude. It's absolutely terrible. I've been fighting this battle so long. There's a fucking trail of battle damage. So if they didn't attack me, I would never have investigated why they were attacking me, and I never would have found the truth, and I never would have been attacked for finding the truth. It's a temporal paradox. It doesn't make any freaking sense. So this is the thing, right? Why did I start investigating all the crazy stuff I started investigating? I could care less about that. Okay, so I'm going to say another thing right now. I swear to God, hand to God, they have been attacking every time I tried to get a girlfriend. I lost her in the weirdest, bizarre way possible. Yeah, I had a couple girlfriends, and then like all of a sudden they would just like break up with me. And I'm like, I mean, this was even before the age of sex. This was like when I was 15, I was this one girl, Jennifer, and we were best friends forever. We started dating, and then all of a sudden this girl befriended her, and like 2 days later she just dumped me and stopped talking to me. And I was like, I didn't understand what the hell was going on. And that happened to me multiple times throughout my life. So like if they weren't attacking me, I wouldn't do the research I did to then find out what I found out, to then put out the information that then would give them the justification to attack me. I don't understand. It's a temporal paradox. It's like this is temporal warfare. We're dealing with temporal warfare. I think I put a post out recently talking about that they have time travel technology. I put a lot of posts about that. 9 is your contraction, 10 is your reference point, 11 is expansion. Basically, that's pretty simple stuff. If you have electromagnetic field frequency modulators that are powerful enough, and you can tune them in using extremely advanced computers, supercomputers, which they now have, it's possible that, I mean, how many Simpsons news stories have you seen where it's like, does the Simpsons know the future? I mean, how do you think they made Back to the Future? That's exactly how it works in that movie. Back to the Future is exactly how time travel works. There are 2 change logs in the universe. One keeps track of the universe and cannot be changed. The other one generates the universe based on change. So as soon as that guy, Marty, messed up his parents getting together, he started to fade away. His sister and brother faded away out of the picture, and he started to fade away. Because one change log keeps track of the universe and cannot be changed. That's the macro. And then the micro generates the universe based on change. There was this movie about time travel, and they talked about temporal paradoxes and how if you really start to think about time travel, it will literally fry your mind. Everything is happening simultaneously. Time is an illusion. So in this one movie, they're torturing a guy. Oh, no. They're trying to find a guy. They have his cell phone, and they're arguing with him on the cell phone. And these guys are the time masters. And they're like, you do what we say. We have your past body right now. You either do what we say, or we're going to start putting pain on your past body. And so the guy's like, I don't care. I'm fighting. You're my enemy. I'm going to fight until I, either I'm victorious or I die, right? And they're like, really? Okay. So then they cut the young version of the guy that they're targeting, And the old guy has a scar on his hand up here. And the pain. He experiences all of the pain. In real time. And then he's like, I'm still not going to do it. They chop off his hand. The dude's hand disappears. Yeah, dude, temporal mechanics is fucking crazy. And if they have that technology and they've been fucking with me, I'm literally destined to do everything I do. It's literally my destiny. I know it doesn't make any fucking sense. I hope I'm talking to myself. I really do. I really fucking hope I'm talking to myself. And if I'm targeted, just come over here and shoot me already. Or fucking pick me up and torture me or fucking poison me or whatever, dude. I've been targeted. They've prevented me from being in contact with females my entire life. Then they started accusing me of being a terror murder rapist and saying I'm driving around trying to hurt children. And then they accused me of child porn, which nobody's going to investigate. Nobody's going to say, oh, that guy's watching CP. Can I see some evidence? No. That's how they can target anyone. They just say, oh, he's watching CP. Nobody asks questions. Oh, CP people, oh my God. There's some things I want to say. I'm going to hold on it right now. We're in a battle. Humanity is in a battle. The Bible specifically says Satan fought the angels, was kicked out of heaven, and fell to earth. That's in the Bible. And the battle continues. The Bible specifically says the battle rages to this day. I believe in Jesus Christ. I believe in the Bible. Okay? So I'm not like the first person to come across this whole thing and say, hey, you know, Lucifer or the devil or whatever fell to earth. And that's a whole nother thing. You have Lucifer, you have the devil, okay? And then you have Satan, right? Sounds like three different entities. Lucifer is the morning star. Lucifer is the light bringer. Lucifer is the one who brings the apocalypse. When I was 13, 14 years old, I was called Lucifer by this crazy lady. I wrote a document about it, which unfortunately I had to redact. And, you know, I'm constantly finding stuff that I have to redact because I've been in this battle for a very long time. Fighting for my life. And their technology keeps getting better and better and better. And like literally I'm shoehorned into my little apartment prison planet. My little tiny apartment. I'm in the prison apartment. And I can literally not leave the little gated area without putting myself in danger. And even here I'm in danger. I've got cameras, dude. I got cameras all over my place. Because, you know, I've been telling you about how the stuff is called poison and it makes you sick and kills you. Well, guess what? All it took was for them to unlock my door, which they have the keys. The management has the keys. So literally they broke into my apartment and poisoned me and almost killed me more than half a dozen times. I finally learned to get cameras and security alarms and trip cameras and cameras that are not networked. Some cameras are networked, some cameras are on battery. I literally have 7, 8, 9 cameras that I'm constantly managing just here alone. And then I have more over there and a couple of more pointing out there. Some of them are networked and some of them are not. I have cameras that are hidden, little tiny, here's one of them. I know they're not very expensive. These little tiny cameras. I have these cameras watching my cameras. So if somebody comes in and tampers, I'll be able to see it. And then those cameras, that camera's networked, that camera's not networked. These cameras are running local. And then I have a couple of these that do connect to Wi-Fi. Watching my cameras. And then the other cameras are watching the doors. And I have motion detectors and alarm system and all that stuff. I had to. I almost died. I've been poisoned over 100 times, guys. Over 100 times. Over 100 fatal poisoning attacks. That's like being shot over 100 times. And those poisons aren't just like jokes. Those are like, drink this, eat this, you die. Right? So I've been dealing with this for a very long time. I've been battling this for a very long time. And I've been investigating and finding stuff out. And then, you know, I put that stuff up. And then I realized it was so damaging, I had to take it down and readjust my philosophy from a scientific based to a religious based. Because the truth is, we are in a religious war. Humanity is bound to Earth, and we need to survive as humans and understand that the black stuff there, that black stuff right there, that black stuff that you call the sky at night with little pinholes and stuff, that's infinity. We have infinity above us. And infinity is infinity. There's a lot of stuff in infinity, right? Earth, Mother Earth is our garden and our home. And we need to protect ourselves, understand our place in the universe, and respect the ecological harmony of Mother Earth and all the life cycles of not just Earth, but the entire universe. And to defend, protect, and to harmonize ourselves with the rest of the universe. We need to learn spirituality, understand our place as spiritual beings that are not just meat bodies. This is a meat bag. I am not this flesh thing right here. While it's a great gift from God, it's also a great gift to God. Because when I die, my bones will compress the earth, okay? And over eons and eons and eons, every single person and every single life, every single piece of life in the universe, or every single piece of life on Earth, anyways, contributes to the growth, the physical mass that grows the planet. The planet grows larger and larger, denser and denser. The crystals in the center basically become more and more powerful and larger, which then are able to use the crystal magic and generate more life on the surface. The life then dies and compresses into more crystal. Okay? So we are literally on a great journey of the soul, okay? Learning all of life's lessons, okay? So that we can transcend this human existence into a realm of bliss, absolute bliss. Absolutely. 100%. Amen, Jesus Christ. Okay? So I absolutely believe that there's heaven. I believe that there's different states of ascension on the way to total I don't know what they call it in the Bible. Whatever they call it in the Bible, please let me know what is in the Bible when they say that the top of pinnacle of existence other than God, which, the 11th dimension, going to the scientific realm a little bit to describe this, you could say heaven, but in the 11th dimension, that's basically the consciousness realm. The first 10 dimensions create the universe, which is a multi-dimensional multiverse, so it's not just one universe. All of the universes are connected through the 11th dimension. The 11th dimension is hyperspace, time. There's time does in the 11th dimension, everything is happening simultaneously. In the 11th dimension, all points in space and time are connected to the 11th dimension. Anywhere in the multiverse, you are anywhere, any space, anywhere in time or space within the multiverse is all connected into the 11th dimension. Okay. So you could call the 11th dimension the consciousness dimension. You could call it heaven. You could call it many different things. But there's also within the 1 through 10 dimensions, which is the physical universe itself, the universe that consists of matter, energy, space, and time. This physical dimension that we're in, this three-dimensional, it gets really confusing. The language is deliberately ruined. They haven't put together the language properly so that we can convey these concepts accurately, because dimension means so many different things, and then universe is like, it gets really confusing, right? Yeah. Time, all time is happening simultaneously. How could that possibly be? Well, within our bubble, time is linear, but within the 11th dimension, time doesn't exist, and everything is connected to the 11th dimension. And Jesus Christ is in the 11th dimension. God is in the 11th dimension, and within the physical universe, there's a kingdom of heaven with ascended beings. Maybe as a microbe, then you learn how to become a snail. As a snail, you taste the minerals, and your biology realizes that there's a certain mineral that it can then combine with other minerals, and using biogenetic fusion, it can fuse that into a harder, heavier element, which creates calcium. Then the calcium grows as the life form grows. Once that life form dies, that calcium, turns to quartz crystal, and the blood and the organic matter turns to gold. So you and iron, and so you basically have iron and gold, okay? at the end of the day, everything compresses down to basically iron and gold. And it's all about the singularity, the duality, the Trinity. From the Trinity, you have infinity. It's, of course, I could go on forever, and it's 25 minutes in, and my phone's spying on me. I'm not broadcasting. This is not a broadcast from me. This is somebody has hacked my phone and is spying on me. And however you're watching this, that's on you. You're responsible for your own condition. My job is to shepherd humanity into a harmonious system with the rest of the universe. And we have to realize that the rest of the universe is infinite. And if we're going to exist, we have to be in harmony with all things in the universe, big or small. We have to evolve. We also have to, hold our ground and say harmony is harmony, not disharmony. It goes both ways. I had a vision where God did not care, because God is God. Every single mortal human being on this planet has a soul, and your soul is in God's house, and he respects and loves you 100%. When you die, you go back to God, okay? And your body is gifted to the core, which then it helps build the universe, which helps build God. So you build God. You are for God. You are of God. You are part of God. You live, you die. You live, you die. Eventually, hopefully, you ascend to become the consciousness of a star or a planet. And then from there, your journey to heaven truly begins. But I think in the Bible they say you cannot go to heaven in your mortal human body. You can't. So God is in control of the universe. And God respects and cherishes each and every one of us and all of our effort to help build and grow the physical mass of the universe through our biological chemistry. And if he has to, he will start over. There will be a great flood. There's already a great flood. We're flooded right now. We're already in the great flood. He will incinerate this surface of this planet. If he has to, if evil persists. There will be no Noah's Ark. It will be a hot ball of fire from God to cleanse the earth of evil. And he will shepherd his beloved children and their souls to a much better location. Whether you reincarnate as another humanoid or if you ascend to heaven as a celestial being in the heavens who now, instead of just building your own organic body, you are now helping as an ascended individual the consciousness of a star or a planet. You're now helping to build the machinery of the cosmos, which supports life, to create even more life and even more, hopefully, beautiful paradises for people to live, learn, and flourish, yeah, and be happy and have a beautiful life. And we can do that here on Earth. We can do that. But we can't do that when we have complete insanity where people say that free speech is Hitler. That's insane, dude. That's the opposite of harmony. That's domination, tyranny, and control. And we have to fight and die if we have to, like every other soldier who has fought and died for this country. If you want to live in a world where you have the right to peace, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, it doesn't come free. There's sacrifice. That's not me. That's just the way the universe works. And that's part of, my acceptance to accept the fact that I will do what I can to shepherd humanity towards the light. As cliche as that sounds. I will do everything I have to do. Now, I've gone through and I've tried to delete as much as I can from my battles from the past. But that trail of carnage is there. And I'm doing everything I can to clean it up, but we got to get together and work, man, because if we don't get this shit under control, we will literally... See, the thing about powerful people is it's like a black hole. It's like a black hole, right? You hear this concept of a black hole where it's this object that just sucks everything around it. That's greed. That's basically the heart of greed right there. So what you have is you have some very, very greedy people who have so much money and power and heathenism that they don't care about people suffering. They don't care if people are suffering. And it's part of their whole Satanist thing because they understand. See, Satanism, I'll get back to the whole Lucifer, devil, Satanism thing a little bit, but Satanism is the belief that the death process is good and that it does feed the earth and then it does help build the universe. And there is some truth to that. They have a very, very strict hierarchy of, I almost want to say, religious philosophy. This whole thing that justifies evil. It's okay for them to do evil things because in their eyes, they're working for God. Because they partly are, they are working for God. Partly. Because God feeds off of the carnage of life. Life builds the universe. It's the life and death process that builds the universe. That's the truth. At least in the scales that we're at. Once you get into the celestial realms, the machinery of the cosmos is just, it's like giant magnetic systems rotating around each other and then using gravity assist and other methods to increase their energy and their matter. On a celestial level, you don't have to go through the whole life and death process. Once you get into the celestial realm, that's why they say you become mortal. Because in that realm, you truly do transcend the life and death cycle, and you enter a new, literally a kingdom of heaven, where then you say you start out as a planet. Now, as a planet, okay, you have to, first of all, stay close to your host star, because if you go outside of the influence of the host star, you will shrivel up and die very quickly. So as a child in your mother's influence, the sun is the mother, and she has the heliosphere. She's creating a giant nursery for the planets to exist in without getting eaten up by the dark energy field, which is a solvent which eats all matter. I mean, we're talking in time scales that are transcend human comprehension. Hundreds of millions, trillions of years we're talking here now on the macro scale. But once you go from the mortal life form to the celestial life form, this is the hypothetical next step that I would like to convey, is that you go from a mortal life form to now you're a celestial life form. So let's just hypothesize that this is true, and now you are the consciousness of a planet. And you're there, and you've got raw materials and millions of years to play with, right? So slowly organic chemistry starts to build upon your surface. Slowly you get into a range. Let's make it real simple and say you're the third planet from the sun and you're similar to Earth, just to make things simple. Because if you're Mercury or Mars or Venus, these are just phases. You know, millions, hundreds of millions of years for planetary time is a blink of an eye. So right now Venus might be too hot, but when the sun goes into a cool down, which the sun gets hotter and colder depending on how it travels through the universe. I'm not going to get into all the mechanics of that right now, but the sun does get hotter and colder. So right now we're in the perfect zone, not just distance from the sun, but also the sun is in a specific state where the Earth is in the perfect Goldilocks zone. And then Venus is too hot and Mars is too cold. But if the sun heats up, Earth possibly, I'm just saying hypothetically speaking, not to scare anyone, but Earth, and this could take hundreds of millions of years. So, I mean, it's like, as far as human comprehension goes, don't even worry about it. But Earth could literally boil off and become like a Mars on Earth situation because the sun gets so hot that it literally blasts Earth with so much energy and radiation that it strips away all of the moisture from the atmosphere through the solar winds. And then Earth could, I'm just saying this is not real. This is just hypothetical concepts that I want to put in your head so you start to understand this whole idea of you're a planet, you create life on your planet, the life grows and dies, grows and dies, grows and dies, grows and dies, contributing to building your physical core, which is your consciousness, which is a crystal matrix at the center of the Earth, okay? And that crystal matrix has a little tiny, tiny, tiny crystal core quantum computer that is connected to infinity itself. And then that infinity is connected to the entire multiverse. But anyways, so as a crystal core quantum computer planet, you want to create life on your surface. That life lives and dies, lives and dies, lives and dies. All of the life and death cycles literally build mass upon your planet, which then pressurizes your core. If you know anything about crystals, the more pressure they're on, the more pressure they're under, the more energetic they become. And I'm not going to get into all the quantum physics about how... I'm not going to get into all the quantum physics, but basically... the whole idea is to grow and to expand. 11 is expansion, 9 is contraction. If you're shrinking into nothingness. Okay? That's why it's bad. Because if you're shrinking into nothingness. If you're not growing and the rest of the universe is growing, you're shrinking. So even though you might think that you might think that everything's leveled out and you're not growing or you're not shrinking, if you're not keeping up with the universe that is constantly growing at a rate of about 10%, I'm talking as a celestial being, as a celestial body, okay? If you're not keeping up with the growth of the universe, even though you're not technically shrinking, technically you are shrinking. So you have to constantly expand. There has to be constant growth. That's the nature of the beast. You have to constantly feed the beast. It's part of the, you see the picture of the snake eating its own tail? And that's eternity and the universe. The snake is eating its own tail. The life and death cycle literally continuously grows the universe, which then, so you're a planet, you grow, you become a star, and then as you start spinning around the galaxy, now instead of being just spinning around the center of the solar system, mother being the sun, you're within the nursery of mother. As you get larger and larger and you move slowly, as the planet slowly gets heavier and heavier and starts to move away from the center of the sun, or the host star, let's just call it the sun, let's pretend we're talking about Earth, and you're the consciousness of Earth, okay? So you're the consciousness of Earth. You want to grow the life on your surface, okay? Both life and death contribute to the growth of your surface. So you literally sacrifice your own living flesh on your surface to help grow yourself. That's part of the Satanist philosophy, but it's also part of the enlightened philosophy. The rainbow is the rainbow. The universe is the universe. There's no good or bad as far as the ultimate experience is concerned. It's about efficiency and growing as fast as possible, and try to have some joy while you're at it. Okay? And then, of course, that's the Satan philosophy. Have too much joy, or have as much joy as you want. For me, I personally think that not just helping myself, but helping others is good, because as the planet becomes more intelligent and capable of hosting life, there's the possibility that that life can become more and more intelligent and then help improve its conditions so that it can live in a peaceful, harmonious experience as it travels through the universe, through space and time, evolving and learning and transcending. Okay? That's the idea that we want to get to. We want to get to a place of harmony and happiness. And life and death is part of that cycle. Okay? So, I mean, you can call me Lucifer, you can call me the devil, you can call me Satan. I'm battling for my life. I've been battling for my life my entire life. And I've learned these things along the way because I was under so much pressure. I'm like the crystal that's under pressure. I guess the more pressure they put me under, the louder I sing. Technically, that's kind of the idea. The more pressure the crystal is in, the louder it sings. And that's why they call it the singing song. In the heavens, the stars are singing to each other. In the singing song, they're exchanging information, they're exchanging ideas, they're all rotating around each other, and they're working in cooperation to rotate around the central black hole, which is called the central sun, or the central, I think it's called the central, I forgot what it's called. The central black sun. Black hole sun? I forgot what they call it. But anyways, it's the supermassive black hole at the center of the galaxy, is the pole that all of the stars can swing around. And then, so the thing is because that pole is so massive, solid, and stable, the stars are able to rotate around the galactic hub. And believe it or not, they can use electromagnetic vibrations to actually physically push themselves in the direction they want to travel. And as they slowly rotate out away from the center of the sun, they start rotating around faster and faster and faster. If you know anything about physics, the motion of matter equals gravity, which equals energy plus about 10%. So as they constantly spin around the central part of the galaxy, or the central black hole, and they spin around and spin around and spin around and slowly get heavier and heavier and heavier and move out and move out and move out. And as they move out, they're actually moving even faster, because so if you have the hub and you're only 2 inches out from the hub, you're moving so fast, right? But if you're 10 inches out, you're moving much, much faster relative. So they spin and spin and spin. They gain mass. They gain energy. They literally grow. They're magic crystals in space that are literally growing. They're giant magic crystals in space. They're growing, getting bigger and bigger. As the biggest celestial objects get flung out of the galaxy, they supernova, okay? And they create a whole new galaxy, because when they supernova, then they have, if you know anything about stellar mechanics, when you have a supernova, then the hot gas combines and clumps up and starts to create solar systems, new planets and stuff like that. And that's just the ever-expanding infinity of everything, okay? And so this is the whole process we're in. And then there's a state above that is so high above. That's in the Bible they talk about it. There's like the state, I don't think they call it, I don't know if it's called heaven. I don't know if the Bible talks about just heaven. I think there's a heaven, like there's the peak, the very, very, very top. And I mean, so that's the thing. So the game we're playing, so the idea is that you are anywhere in any of the multiple dimensions of all the universes, all being connected to the 11th dimension, okay, where time and space does not exist, okay? And that 11th dimension is being calculated by the crystal cores of the cosmos themselves. The magic crystal core quantum computers that are the stars, planets, moons, protoplanets, supermassive black holes. Those are the celestial objects, and in the center of their core is the intelligent infinity. It's the crystal core quantum computer. They're all linked and tied to each other in the 11th dimension. So there's a possibility that you are a celestial being somewhere in the universe. Maybe you don't have your own planet, or maybe this is your planet. Maybe you come from your consciousness is ultimately emanating from the sun, okay? And you are literally the celestial being, and you have billions and billions of years to do nothing but spin around, 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 spin around. Whoop-de-doo, whoop-de-doo, whoop-de-doo. Round and round and round and round and round and round for millions and 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 billions and billions and billions and billions of years. Your celestial core is growing through the machinery of the cosmos. And you get bored out of your fucking mind. So, being a magic crystal core quantum computer, you and all of the cosmos being magic crystal core quantum computers, they create habitats on their planets that can sustain life. They evolve life, okay? They evolve and mold life to eventually become the prime of 5, okay? So the prime of 5 is the humanoid. The humanoid life form is the form that the gods like to play, to inhabit, as to play a game of life. Okay, so the life on a planet evolves to the humanoid life form, the prime of 5, literally the prime of 5. If you look up the golden ratio, you'll see like pictures of like people's face and people's like there's a symmetry between this bone here and then this bone here and then this bone here. It's all follows the golden ratio, which is phi. Okay, which is 5, the 5th spatial dimension. And then within the 10-dimensional universe, the stars are the 5th, within the 5th density of the 10-dimensional universe. So literally the stars are 5th density beings, and the body, don't get confused, because everyone has a different version of density of being. 3rd density, 4th density, 5th density. Sometimes the scale is backwards, sometimes it's not stacked properly. But everybody gets the general idea that there is a segregation between the different densities of consciousness, I guess is how you could put it. But what was I talking about? You're a star, you're spinning around the galaxy, you're bored out of your fucking mind. You know that planet Earth has humanoid life forms on it. A baby's about to be born. You jump into that baby's body, you wipe your memory, and you have a game of life. You live, you die. When you die, you go back to your heavenly body, and then you can either pick up another body, or, I don't know exactly. Now, that's what you call an angel, okay? That's generally the idea of an angel, or a some people call it a wanderer, and there's a little bit of confusion between angel, wanderer, and starseed. I'm not laying down the law. My name's Orion Michael Guy. I'm the founding father of Oriontology, the study of Jesus Christ and the Holy Trinity. And of course, that includes the entire universe. And this is my philosophy and mine alone. And you don't have to agree with it. And I believe that Jesus Christ's message is very much in alignment with this message. And this message is that when you die, you go to heaven. And there is a possibility that some of us are already ascended angels who came to Earth to help Earth. Okay? And then there's others who are on this planet who are a part of the crystal matrix at the center of Mother Earth, which is your soul. Okay? Your soul, S-O-U-L, could be in one of the crystals at the center of Mother Earth, slowly making their way to the very center. And at the very center of Mother Earth is an entire new universe. So there's a very good possibility that the crystal, when you live and die enough times, that crystal that you're tied to, when it transitions from this universe into the new universe, and you basically ascend, even though it sounds like you're descending up and down and down and up. When you're talking about these type of mechanical quantum mechanics, you can't say even though technically you are dropping down, down, down towards the very, very center core of the universe. From our perspective, you could say it sounds like you're going down, but no, you're ascending. You're increasing in density, okay? So that's the trick to the universe, is to constantly increase in density. That's really, that's why there's the life and death cycle, because it constantly adds mass to the surface, and the mass increases the density of the planet. So it gets denser and denser. So as your crystal soul, literally, which is slowly making its way to the center of the earth, which then once it goes into the new, once it ascends, which even though it sounds like it's going down, it's actually going up because you're going up in density. You basically ascend and you become a celestial being and you go to heaven. That's the whole idea. When you die, you go to heaven. Okay? Some of us do. Some of us reincarnate, and some of us are already celestial beings in this universe who came to Earth to help humanity, and they call that a wanderer. Now, there was some confusion about a starseed, and I'm not going to, argue anybody's personal opinions or beliefs. My own personal opinion or belief on this subject is that a starseed is a young soul who's learning the lessons of life, who, when they die, or possibly reincarnate and die many, 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 many times to help contribute to the mass of the crystal that's going to transcend into the new universe. The life cycle, you pay your dues, and then you get your celestial body, which basically means you're immortal, and then from there, your journey to heaven and bliss begins. And that's true, absolutely. Quantum mechanics, everything. Absolutely. That's the nature of the universe. So we have the concept of helping yourself and also helping others. And then you have the concept of these Satanists who only want to help themselves and they don't care about others because they know the universe will pick up the slack and constantly feed them growth. And so they're parasites, dude. They're parasites. These are the type of people who will say freedom of speech is Hitler. They're Satanists. That's Satanism, dude. They want to completely deharmonize humanity so that they can steal your money, okay? And which they're doing. Everyone knows it. Everyone knows their money's being stolen. Everyone knows their health is being stolen. Everyone knows, oh yeah, little poison here is killing me. This little poison here is killing me. They know that they're being poisoned and killed. Slowly poisoned and killed. And to a certain point, it's okay because that's part of the life and death cycle. It's when whatever the Satanists become tyrannical and just start not following natural law and God's will. And once they start interfering with God's will, God wakes up and fights back. And he'll incinerate the entire planet if he gets mad. He doesn't fucking care. He has eternity to exist. And all of the souls that died, those are just souls for him to harvest, to help expand infinity. Whether he puts some of you guys into celestial being as into stars, and you get your own star and your own planet, your own solar system, and your own journey to heaven, and you have your own planet, your own solar system, where you can literally grow life on and then incarnate on your own plan with Adam and Eve and have a beautiful, beautiful existence. And then you have other planets that are negative and are shrinking, and so what they have to do is they have to, you have black holes, dude, fucking evil black holes. Good and bad exists everywhere. It has to. Because if there's absolutely no death, well, the way I look at it is the perfect crystal has to crack. It's crazy and it's terrible. But in order for the crystal to grow, I mean, this is just hypothetical theory stuff. I'm not writing anything down or anything. I'm just thinking that, there's this... Did you guys ever watch The Dark Crystal? Where, like, there's this crystal and there's a crack in it, and then finally when the sliver that was broken from the dark crystal gets put back into place, the entire planet becomes harmonious, all the evil is wiped away, and there's joy, happiness, and prosperity. I think part of the crystal growing, it has to crack itself. And that crack is bad. And it's up to us to fix the crack. But the crystal is bored out of its fucking mind. So it doesn't care if it cracks itself to grow faster. It's a game it wants to play. Life and death. Good and bad. Sometimes God will incarnate as a good individual, and sometimes God will incarnate as a bad individual. And that's the whole game. Because if everything was just good and happy and joyful, there'd be no game. There'd be absolutely no game. There'd be no point. What's the point? There has to be a challenge to motivate you to move faster. If you're a celestial object and you realize that you have to move in a very specific pattern with the rest of the galaxy, cooperate and work together with the rest of the galaxy to constantly be moving faster and faster and growing, if you don't constantly move faster and faster and growing, you're going to be shrinking. And then you're going to shrink and shrink and shrink and shrink. I mean, we're talking celestial mechanics here, so you're talking trillions, billions of years. But you're going to shrink and shrink and shrink and shrink and shrink into nothingness. And then you're going to be gone. You'll be absolutely nothing. You'll be returned to the universe in ways that are incomprehensible. And unfortunately, that decay is important. But the celestial beings, they can decay and grow at the same time. So they're constantly growing the universe and growing themselves. And that's really what we need to understand. We have to grow the universe and grow ourselves. We have to enlighten ourselves spiritually to realize evil exists, life, death, and happiness, and misery and pain are all part of the game. You are a flesh bag, and your true consciousness lies in the 11th dimension. Whether you have a celestial body that you, like a very powerful, like say, your celestial body is like a neutron star, then you have the power to incarnate into any planet you want as a human life form and play a game of life. And as a neutron star, you have a lot of capabilities that you're not even aware of because you gave yourself amnesia and you went to that planet and you just have a tendency to try to help people, And then there's a black hole nearby who sees you go to that planet. Then he says, ha ha ha, I'm going to play a game. I'm going to go to that planet and fuck with that guy. And yeah, you have like God Wars playing out here on Earth. That's basically what's going on. You have the light and the dark incarnating on Earth, okay, as humans, and 33% of them, or I think in the Bible they say a third, are the fallen angels from Satan. And that's the whole idea, is that they are influenced by the satanic force of the universe, which is part of God. As ugly as that sounds, it's all part of God. If it wasn't there, there would be no game. We would have no fun. There'd be no point to do anything. So these are the concepts that, you have to get your mind around when you're trying to think about right, wrong, life, death, justified actions that I've been dealing with this for a long time, so I've had a lot of time to sit there and understand. Like, I've even tried killing I shouldn't say that. I'm mentally disabled. I've been to the Department of Mental Health, and I've experienced so much pain and trauma in my life that I've had certain thoughts that technically you shouldn't talk about out loud. I don't know why, but I don't feel suicidal right now. I'm not saying I'm a harm to myself or others. So that's one of the questions they ask you. Are you a harm to yourself or others? No, I'm not a harm to myself or others. Did you think? Yes. Thought police, you're going to jail. You're allowed to have thoughts. You're allowed to go through and think about, to be or not to be. You know what I mean? To be or not to be? To be or not to be? Is my existence here, you know, causing so much death and destruction? I don't give a fuck. Truly, I don't give a fuck. I understand the universe. I understand where souls go when they die. I know that the good go to heaven and the bad go to hell. And I'm going to fight, and I'm going to fight, and I'm going to fight, and I'm going to die. And that's the game I'm playing right now. And I'm totally fine with that. I don't care. And I already know. My whole family's been slaughtered. Everyone who I've talked to or tried to date or contact has died or been pulled away from me. Forever gone. I'm by myself. I have been for over 10 years. It's very difficult. And then around 3:23 a.m. every morning, I have psychic panic attacks. Okay? And it's fucking painful. Being single and having psychic panic attacks at 3:33 in the morning. 3:23 in the morning. It's painful. It's very fucking painful. On top of all the physical pain, the mental pain is tough. Knowing that the actions that you have done caused others, affected others negatively, to put it mildly. There's nothing you can do about that. This is a battle. This is God's battle. He wants your soul, okay? One way or another. Your soul is either going to go to heaven, or it's going to evaporate into nothingness and contribute to the universe as empty space. Because that's what space is. It's the souls of the damned. The vastness, all the vastness of empty space. That's the souls of the damned. And all the celestial beings, those are the heavens. Those are the angels in heaven who create the universe and contribute for everybody, not just themselves. So evil homogenizes into nothingness. And God, please forgive me. This is the battle we're in as humanity. We cannot let people on networks that are quote unquote authorities say that freedom of speech is Hitler. If we allow that, we allow them dominion over our existence. Every single person on this planet has the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Okay? And there are some things that have to be harmonized, and some of those things that are within harmony require spiritual enlightenment to fully understand. And you could say that they're negative, you could say that they're positive, you could say that they're good, you could say that they're bad. The fact of the matter is reality, and we don't have a fucking choice about certain things. Especially we don't have a choice that we're going to die. You live enough life cycles, you pay your dues, you get a celestial body, you go to heaven, you create your own universe, and inside your own universe you can do whatever you want. You want to ruin your universe and shrink into nothingness? You do that. You want to grow your universe into a beautiful, expanding, infinite potential of infinity with millions and millions of planets that have millions and millions of life cycles on them, with billions and billions of beautiful women that you can incarnate on a planet with and have games of life with and play in the Garden of Eden and do the whole family thing and all that stuff. It all exists all here simultaneously, all at the same time. It's up to us to accept the universe, raise our awareness and our spiritual enlightenment to understand everything that's happening, and to brace for the good and the bad, to pray to God, to Jesus Christ, or however you get to God. Okay, I think was the advice that a very wise man once said. You understand that. And you understand that the game we're playing on this heavenly earth can continue indefinitely in peace and harmony. And there's some very powerful people that are willing to put their neck on the line to push that agenda. And we have to thank them, praise them, and cherish them, and do absolutely everything possible to support them. Even if they are, well, I was going to say even if they, I have to be careful what I say, but it's ugly, dude. It's ugly, but it's beautiful at the same time, you know? And we have to love and respect and cherish all life and learn to work together to move forward into the future for not just this generation, but all the generations to come, so that they live in a world that is capable of supporting life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And that's what we have to do. Okay, so it's been 1 hour. That's your good morning, Mike, wake-up call. Be vigilant, be strong, be safe. Use the Bible. And I'm like new to this. I'm literally a dumb dog, okay? Being influenced by godly powers that I have absolutely no control over. They got time travel technology. They got mind reading technology. They've got microwave technology that can literally boil your brain. They got all kinds of really bad stuff. We have to bring it back to faith. We have to look at the Bible and what the Bible says. And I know that sounds cliche, and I don't even know what the Bible says. So I don't want to vouch for any other Bible but than my Bible. My Bible is what I say. I am the founding father of Oriontology. I am Orion Michael Guy. I study Jesus Christ's teachings and the Trinity. And that's what I'm here to do. I'm here to enlighten and improve the human condition. And I'm willing to die to do it. And I promise you, I will do everything in my power to help improve the human condition. Even if it looks like I'm being a freaking demon or a devil or something like that. So am I the devil? I don't know. Am I Satan? I don't know. Am I Lucifer? Maybe. I don't know. I have no fucking idea. I'm a dumb retard sitting on a computer, sitting in my apartment, talking to a phone that's spying on me. I have fucking no idea what's going on, guys. I've been trying to fight just like everyone else. And I've almost died over 100 times from the fucking poison, over and 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 over again. If you didn't attack me and fuck with me, I wouldn't have opened my mouth. I'd love to just have a normal life. You know? Just have a normal life. You know? Get married, have children, get hit by a car, and start all over again. I don't give a fuck. But they fucked with me my whole fucking life. And now the shit that's going on with the wars, the pandemics, and the Satanism and stuff like that, it has awoken the gods, dude. I swear to God, the gods are awake. Because those gods, they come to planet Earth to play games of life. And if they can't do that, they're going to fucking wipe the slate clean. Yeah, dude. They don't care. They got billions and billions of years. Infinite souls that they have to balance and juggle. To constantly create and expand new dimensions within new dimensions within new dimensions. They live in the heavens. They're celestial beings. They're angels. They live in the 11th dimension. They come to Earth to play games of life and have fun and joy and happiness. And if they can't do that, they will wipe the slate clean. So, harmony is harmony. Satanist Christians got to get together and realize that if this shit doesn't get under control, the Bible says there won't just be a flood. There will be fire and brimstone. If I'm correct about that. I don't know anything because I'm just going off of osmosis. I've learned through osmosis the information that I've learned through, over 47 years of, let's round it off to 50. It sounds better. 50 years of, I guess you could say, absorbing information, So as far as the Bible goes, I'm talking about my Bible. My Bible is based on my own beliefs, which I believe are the teachings, fall in line with the teachings of Jesus Christ. Okay? So, my Bible, I don't want to vouch for other people's Bibles. Because I've tried reading, I try to watch people and they're like, they take gibberish and try to interpret it. They can take some gibberish passage. Anybody can take any gibberish passage and try to interpolate it into anything they want. So, I can't vouch for every line of every single Bible because there's 45,000 different Bibles. There's at least 45,000 different Christian Bibles. There's at least 45,000 different Christian denominations. Now there's 45,001. I am the founding father of Oriontology. the study of Jesus Christ and the Holy Trinity. And that includes how the universe works. Okay? 105. You guys are spying on me, man. I'm not controlling this phone, dude. I got my phone on. I'm just fucking talking to myself on some Black Mirror device. Okay? You guys are spying on me. If you're still here listening, that's up to you. I'm sitting here on a Wednesday morning fighting the good fight. And I will continue to fight the good fight. And when you guys are ready, just shoot me in the fucking head and get it over with.